Hello everybody, King Shub here, and the NFL debut is nearly like 2 days away. So, I have basically compiled all of my predictions into one video, and I'm going to get them all out before the season. We're going to start with my record predictions for every team. So, first, we're going to start with the AFC East. At the top of the AFC East, I got the Bills at 12-5. The Bills, a really good team. A lot of people Super Bowl favorites. I don't think I'm as high on them as some other people are, but I mean, they added Von Miller. They're getting back Tre'Davious White. They drafted Kyer Elam. That defense is gonna be like really good. So I think they're gonna be good, but I was thinking of putting them at like 13-4, but they have quite a hard schedule, and I don't think Josh Allen is that guy. Don't get me wrong, he's a top 5 quarterback for sure, but I just don't think he's like I don't think he's gonna have an MVP season. Is basically what I'm saying. He's good, but he's not gonna be the MVP. So I put them at 12-5. Also, that running game, like hopefully James Cook, who they drafted, can come in kind of revitalize that. Devin Singletary maybe have a nice season as well, and Zach Moss too. I forgot about Zach Moss. But yeah, hopefully they can do well in that rushing room. But I don't see it. I'm not a huge James Cook supporter, although I do think he could be good. I don't think he's gonna blow out of the water for rookie season. As far as the receiving room goes, I love Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is honestly underrated. I thought people would like be talking a lot more about when he got 4 TDs against the Chiefs, and he absolutely embarrassed that one dude. I'll see if I can get the clip hopefully it's showing right now in the video, when he absolutely embarrassed that dude on the Chiefs. So yeah, so that's the Bills. Then we got the Patriots, my favorite team. If you didn't know, I have them at 11-6. Some people might think that's high. I don't think so. I think that's low. I was gonna put them at 17-0, but I'm modest. I'm humble. But the team is great. Sure, we lost Dante Hightower, I think, and some other pieces on defense. But I mean, it's Bill Belichick. Are we really gonna have a bad defense? Like, the worst Bill Belichick years are when our defense like isn't ranked first. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we trust in Mac Jones. Ramondre Stevenson is looking to have an uptick. We still got Damian Harrison. James White, unfortunately, retired, so that does hurt the running back room a little bit, but otherwise we're good. In the receiver room, we still got Kendrick Bourne. We added Devontae Parker. We still have Jacoby Myers. So I think it's going to be pretty close to last season in terms of how we do. I'm just hoping that last year's playoffs aren't a repeat. Then I have the Dolphins at 9-8. They added Tyreek Hill. That's big. Their defense, I don't trust that much. I don't know that much about their defense, so I don't really trust it. But it's the Dolphins, and nobody likes the Dolphins, so that's not true. I just hate the Dolphins. So I don't think they're gonna be that good. Tua's not the guy. Yeah, I mean, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek is gonna be an insane receiving duo, but I just don't think Tua can throw it to them well. Then I have the Jets at 3-14. I don't know what to say about the Jets. I mean, they have decent players: Quinnen Williams, Mekhi Becton, who they draft, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Zach Wilson. They got Elijah Moore. I don't see them being able to put it together. I do like Rob Saleh as a coach, but I don't see them really putting it all together, especially with Zach Wilson out. It's going to take some time to get those chemistry things together, and I just don't think Zach Wilson's the guy. I don't think he's that good. Could be good, but I don't think so. I'm pretty low on Zach Wilson. So Jets at 3-14. Next, we have the AFC West. This is a absolute bloodbath of a division. I mean, these are 4 teams that I think all have legitimate shots of going to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I will say, to preface, one of them did miss the playoffs. One of them did, in fact, miss the playoffs. but that's just because it's just such a hard division. So still in first, I had the Chiefs. Just kind of, I think like a lot of these, three of the teams made big additions in the offseason. It's just like, it's go with what you know, right? I know, sure, they lost Tyreek Hill. I know Patrick Mahomes can reduce. I trust in Travis Kelce. Andy Reid's a great coach. So, I definitely think the Chiefs could lose their crown, but just because, all the rest of the teams is speculation, they can have chemistry issues. I just got to go with what I know. I'm going to keep the Chiefs in first at 12-5. Next, we got the Chargers at 11-6. I'm a big Justin Herbert guy, always have been, even since he was at Oregon. So I trust in this team. They've got a great receiving core with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. The running game with Austin Eckler is great. This is going to be, their offense is going to be the same as last year, hopefully, if not better. And then on the defensive side of the ball, this is where they make big upgrades. They still have Joey Bosa, I believe. They added Khalil Mack. They added J.C. Jackson. They re-signed Derwin James. I mean, this defense is hopefully going to improve a lot. And that's going to be the real thing that's going to propel them to a Super Bowl contender or a playoff team. It's going to, I guess, really Super Bowl contender. I think they can be a playoff team even if their defense is still bad. But that defense is going to be the X factor in really how good they are. Next, we have the Raiders at 11-6 as well. That Derek Carr Devontae Adams connection is going to be great. I don't got much else to say. That defense should be decent. They got rid of some pieces like Alex Leatherwood. There is, of course, the new coaching hire, Josh McDaniels, which was this team's second big move in the offseason besides Devontae Adams. Josh McDaniels, his coaching tenures haven't worked out great. This time he's walking into a really good team. And I wanna trust in Josh McDaniels as a Patriots fan, but I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be a great coach. Obviously he tried it once before, and then the second time he didn't even try it. So we'll see. Then in fourth I have the Broncos at 10-7. I don't think they're gonna ride from the beginning. I think there's chemistry building is gonna take some time. I just think that chemistry is gonna take some time. Eventually, Russ will start cooking. Hopefully, Javonte Williams will have a good season. The receiver room like Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, all very underrated receivers that hopefully Russell Wilson can bring out their potential. Hopefully, on the defensive side of the ball, you got Pat Surtain. I'm completely blanking on the Broncos defense right now. The Bradley Chubb, but yeah, the Broncos defense is good. I know that. So yeah, that Broncos at 10-7. Next, we have the AFC North, starting with the Bengals. I have at 12-5. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They were great. I just kind of expect them to repeat even better this year because they made upgrades to that O-line. Sure, they lost a piece or two. CJ Uzomah. I don't know if they lost anyone else. I think the X factor this year is going to be the defense because the defense, if you don't remember, their defense was playing out of their mind last year for the talent level that they had on that defense. That defense had no business being as good as it was, in my opinion. So, if that defense can come out and do the same thing they did last year, this team will be great. They will be Super Bowl contenders again. They could even win it. So, those are my thoughts on the Bengals. Then we got the Ravens at 10-7. They'll be solid. Lamar doesn't really have any receiving options anymore besides Mark Andrews. Their running backs are back, so that running attack is going to be great as always. They got all of their corners back, Marlon Humphrey and other people I can't remember right now. In the front seven, they got Patrick Queen, Doug Bowser, I think, something like that. But yeah, so they've got solid players. So I got them at 10-7. I'm just accounting for possible injuries. I think they could be better, but possible injuries. Because you remember last season. You remember last season. Then at 7-10, I got the Browns. They obviously they have the Deshaun Watson suspension to deal with, so I don't have them doing very good there. But once Deshaun comes back, I think they should be a competent team. I mean, they have weapons. They have Myles Garrett on defense. So yeah, I think they'll be solid. But definitely not a playoff team this year with the Deshaun suspension. In last place, I have the Steelers, which I have them at 3-14. I was thinking of putting them at 4-13, just because I feel like this team, it's a team that's kind of tanking, but also doesn't feel too bad. Cause like they got T.J. Watt, they got Minka Fitzpatrick. I think they still have Cameron Hayward. So yeah, so their team is pretty good, especially that defense. They still got Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. They just picked up George Pickens. They got Kenny Pickett in the draft, who, while he won't start, I think he'll be very good once he does get the start. They have Mitch Trubisky right now, and he's solid. So I got them at 3-14, but I would not be surprised if they do a little better. Next is the AFC South. And first, I have the Titans, which I am a huge believer of the Titans. I have them at 13-4. I think King Henry's going to dominate. Sure, they lost to A.J. Brown, but they have Derrick Henry. Do they really need to throw the ball? I mean, I guess you don't want him to get injured again. But do they need to throw the ball? I mean, they still have Treylon Burks. They picked up Robert Woods. So it's like they could throw the ball a little bit. Like they might not be terrible, but do you need to throw the ball when you have Derrick Henry? It's 13-4 for them. Colts I have at 10-7. I think the Colts are going to be quite solid. That defense is really good for the Colts, and that offense they got Matt Ryan at the helm now, QB. They have Jonathan Taylor. They still have one of the best O-lines in the league. That offense is going to be pretty good as long as Matt Ryan can throw. And if Matt Ryan goes back to that MVP form, it is over for the league. It is over. Then I have the Jaguars at 3-14. I mean, it's kind of the same as last year. Sure, they don't have Urban Meyer as coach, but I mean, last year they were 1-16, so 2-win improvement sounds solid. Trevor Lawrence will hopefully improve. They get Travis Etienne back from injury, and they got Trayvon Walker in the draft, which they should have picked Aiden Hutchinson. Dumb move on their part, but I don't doubt Trayvon Walker being good. He'll still be good. He just won't be as good as Aiden Hutchinson. But yeah, I have the Jaguars at 3-14. Then at 2-15, I have the Texans. They're kind of still in. They're really in rebuilding mode after this Deshaun Watson trade. They're seeing what they have with Davis Mills. They still have Brandon Cooks, and they only have Brandon Cooks. That's the only player I can remember right now. Brandon Cooks and Davis Mills. So yeah, that's why I have them at 2-15. Next, we have the NFC East. In first, I have the Eagles at 12-5. You might be like, 12-5. One, huge Jalen Hurts believer. I think him and A.J. Brown are going to work out really well. Huge Devontae Smith believer. I think he's going to be really good. That running game will probably get us started. They got Boston Scott, Miles Sanders. They got a solid group of running backs. And then on the defensive side, they picked up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So just a really good team. They already have solid defense. They got Darius Slay and stuff. And their schedule is so easy. I mean, sure, they play in the NFC East, but it's easier than that though. So 12-5, I do not think is an absurd record. In a vacuum, it would be, but they have one of the easiest schedules. So, Then I have the 9-8 Cowboys. Cowboys, it's they're the Cowboys. They got Micah Parsons, they got Dak, they got Zeke, they got CeeDee Lamb. They'll find a way to mess it up though, for sure. I mean, in week 1, the only receiver they have is CeeDee Lamb. I think after that they get like Michael Gallup back though. I don't trust Zeke, and I don't trust him as the starter. I think Tony Pollard's better at this point in time. So I think that's a bad decision on their part. As for the offensive line, last year they had some big holes in that O-line, especially because of injury. A lot of their O-linemen are getting up there in age. They're very injury prone. So I kind of expecting the injuries again. So yeah. And then on the defensive side of the ball, like I said, Micah Parsons. They lost Randy Gregory to the Broncos. I didn't even talk about Randy Gregory going on the Broncos. But yeah. So the 9-8, just they're a solid team. I don't think they're a playoff team. So Then at 5-12, I have the Washington football team. Carson Wentz, I used to like him. I was high on him. He failed me with the Colts, and I'm off the Carson train now. I do think eventually they'll be pretty bad, and he'll get benched for Sam Howell, just so the football team can see what they have. And then I think Sam Howell is going to do worse because I am so low on Sam Howell. I did not like what I saw from him at UNC. I feel like every time I watched him at UNC, he was doing something bad. So I don't trust Sam Howell. I don't trust Carson Wentz. Terry McLaurin, I am sorry. You are the one that signed that contract, though. At least you are getting paid. That defense can hopefully get their act together this season. Hopefully. Last season was terrible, but they still got Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen. I think Landon Collins is still there. So hopefully they can get a few wins. Then at 3-14, I have the Giants. I don't know that much about Brian Dable. Part of it is just saying he's going to be a bad coach because he's from the Bills, and I hate the Bills. So, yeah, and then they got Daniel Dimes at the QB spot, who isn't terrible, but he is not it. He's definitely not a franchise quarterback. I don't even know if he's a starting quarterback. I feel like, Mitch Trubisky to the Giants and then Kenny Pickett started in Pittsburgh would be better. I mean, at least he's not as bad as, Geno Smith and Drew Lock. And then Saquon. I mean, Saquon could change this amount of wins that I have for them. But I'm kind of assuming that Saquon's going to get injured because, he always does. Piece of glass. And then we have the receiver room, Kenny Golladay, Mr. Zero Touchdowns, Kadarius Toney, who is good, but, I mean, he's a little misused in New York. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't even know. Kevon Thibodeau got injured. Who else did the Giants get in the draft? Oh, yeah, they got Evan Neal, so hopefully their protection will be better. So, yeah, Giants in last. Next, I have the NFC West. And in first, I have the defending Super Bowl champion Rams at 14-3. I was a big Rams believer last year. I predicted them to win the Super Bowl at the start of the year, and I do have proof. But yeah, so I was a big believer in the Rams last season. Even though they lost Von Miller, Odell might not resign, I'm still a big believer. I still think they can go back-to-back. Will I predict them to go back-to-back? I don't know. Watch until the end of the video. But they obviously still have Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. They lost Robert Woods in the offseason, which sucks, but hopefully they can get Odell back. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. I feel like there's someone else that's good on that defense that I'm not remembering right now, but stout team, really good team. I believe they could go back-to-back. Got them at 14-3. Next, I have the Cardinals at 10-7. I'm a Cardinals believer, even though D-Hop, who I was a big fan of, got suspended for 6 games. I still think they can do solid. I don't think Super Bowl or anything for them, although maybe they can get it together, but I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. But yeah, Kyler Murray, I'm a big fan of that watching film thing in the contract. It's a little worrying, but I still think he can do well. So Cardinals at 10-7. Then I get the 49ers also at 10-7. Trey Lance, maybe he's the guy. Maybe he gets benched for Jimmy G midseason. Who knows? Who knows? But other than him, they got Debo, they got George Kittle, they got Elijah Mitchell, they got whatever other good skill player Kyle Shanahan just gonna make up here next season. On the defensive side, they got Fred Warner, they got Nick Bosa, they got is DeForest Buckner on the team? No, I think he's on the Colts. He used to be on the 49ers, though. But yeah, they got a solid team all around. Is Trey Lance the guy? That's the big question. I don't know. I don't know. I did never watch Trey Lance in college. What he's shown in his few games he's played has been pretty good. So I think I'm a Trey Lance believer for the time being. Then in last, I have the Seahawks at 1-16. They have a QB battle between Geno Smith and Drew Lock. That should tell you all you need to know. Sure, they still have DK Metcalf. They have Chris Carson. They have Kenneth Walker, who I'm a huge believer in. I don't know anybody on the defensive side of the ball anymore because Bobby Wagner's gone. So it's going to be a truly unfortunate season to watch if you're a Seahawks fan. Truly unfortunate. Up next is the NFC North, and first I have the Packers at 11-6. They lost to Vontae Adams. I believe they lost to Devondre Campbell. But they still have Aaron Rodgers. Picked up like Christian Watson. They have Alan Lazard. They got Randall Cobb. They picked up Sammy Watkins. So week 1 should be great. But yeah, solid team. Their defense is still going to be good. They still have Matt LaFleur. They still have Aaron Rodgers. So, solid team. Next, I have the Vikings at 10-7. Solid team. They got Kirk. They got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and Daniel Hunter, Harrison Smith. So this is going to be a good team. They got a new coach, Kevin O'Connell. Hopefully he's good. And it's really time to see if Mike Zimmerman was the problem or not. Next, I have the Lions at 7-10. Big Aiden Hutchinson fan, big supporter of him. I like Jared Goff. I think he's a starting caliber quarterback. But they got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They picked up Jameson Williams. I have no idea when he's going to be back. But when he is, he should be pretty good. Who else do they have on that roster? On the defensive side of the ball, they have... I'm blanking here. They have Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, I've said I'm a huge supporter of him. I think he's going to be great. So yeah, I have them at 7-10. I've liked what I've seen from them on Hard Knocks. If you haven't seen Hard Knocks, go watch it. Dan Campbell is a delight to watch. A delight meant for the screen. What can I say? Then I have the Bears at 3-14. That offensive line is terrible. They lost Allen Robinson. It seems like they might lose Roquan Smith. So, the Bears aren't going to be great. Next, I have the NFC South. And first, I have the Buccaneers at 14-3. Brady may be getting old. He may have family problems. But if there's one thing I've learned in my years of being a football fan, is you don't doubt Tom Brady. Because once you doubt him, he will strike you down, and he will prove you wrong, and he will win the Super Bowl. So, the Buccaneers at 14-3. Then I have the Saints at 8-9. They have a really hard schedule. I really wanted them to do better, and I really wanted them to make the playoffs, but they just have a really hard schedule. I'm pretty sure they play the AFC West, if I remember correctly. So, that's hard, and I'm pretty sure they play the AFC North, which is also a hard division. So... And I'm pretty sure the game against the Browns is when Deshaun Watson is back. So, they've got a really tough schedule. Luckily, they have the Panthers and they have the Falcons to get some wins, hopefully. But it's gonna be a hard year for them. But they do have Alvin Kamara, who shouldn't be suspended. this year. Is probably going to be suspended next year, but who knows? Who knows? He could get suspended this year. Then you have Mike Thomas. They drafted Chris Olave, who I'm pretty high on. On the defensive side, you still got Cam Jordan. You got Marshawn Lattimore, not Marcus Lattimore, Marshawn. So yeah, a solid team, but they did have a really hard schedule. Then I have the Panthers at 4-13. I think Baker Mayfield's a good QB. I think he's great. The team around him, I mean, if CMC stays healthy, maybe they get up to 5-12. But the receiving core just it's not that great. It's not that great. They got Robbie Anderson, and that's about it. I'm pretty sure. So on the defensive side of the ball, I'm pretty sure they lost Hassan Reddick. They either gained Hassan Reddick or lost him. I'm pretty sure it's lost. So the defensive side of the ball, they have some pieces. They got like Brian Burns and such, but not a great team. Not a great team. Then I have the Falcons at 3-14. I'm a big Marcus Mariota fan, not a huge Desmond Ridder guy. So I hope Marcus Mariota gets to start throughout the season. And he has Kyle Pitts. He has Drake London, who I'm not super high on. But he does have Drake London. On the defensive side of the ball, they have A.J. Terrell. That's about it. So it's going to be a decent team. Not incredible, though. Now my playoff picture. If you were paying attention during the records, you could have gotten this, but I'll just give it to you. I got the Titans at 1. Big fan. Derrick Henry's gonna have a big season, I think. Number 2, I got the Chiefs. Then at 3, I have the Bills, and at 4, I have the Bengals. If you noticed, this is identical to last year's playoff rankings, which I did not do on purpose. It was just a bit of a coincidence. Then at 5, I have the Chargers. And at 6, I have the Raiders. And 7, I have my New England Patriots. The AFC is very hard because it's like the Titans. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill enough to send them to the Super Bowl. Chiefs, that lost Tyreek Hill. I still trust them. They could go back. Maybe not. Bills, I don't really trust them. Personally, they can't get past the Chiefs. Josh Allen's not that guy. The Bengals, they obviously could go back. I think that's definitely a possibility. Chargers, they could go, but I don't trust Brandon Staley enough as a coach. I'm not super high on him as a coach. But I could definitely see the Chargers making it. The Raiders as well. But again, I don't trust Josh McDaniels as a coach. First-year head coach. One that's in previous head coaching jobs not done very well. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know about the Raiders going to the Super Bowl, but they have the roster to do it. They should have kept Rich Bisaccia, but they decided not to. And, bad for them, but, their fault. Then the Patriots. I mean, it's Bill Belichick. It's the Patriots. Of course, they're making the Super Bowl. They're my pick. Patriots to the moon. We're winning the Super Bowl. Then on the NFC side of things, the playoff rankings are Rams at 1, Buccaneers at 2, Eagles at 3, Packers at 4, Cardinals at 5, 49ers at 6, and Vikings at 7. Who do I think is going to the Super Bowl here? Rams could go back-to-back. I acknowledge that. Packers, Aaron Rodgers could go off, but it's the playoffs, so who knows? The Eagles, I don't see it. I don't think the Eagles are gonna do it. Cardinals, maybe, but I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. 49ers, maybe, but I don't trust Trey Lance. And the Vikings, perhaps, but I don't really trust Kirk Cousins or Kevin O'Connell. So, yeah. So my pick is going to be the Buccaneers here because when in doubt, choose Tom Brady. Has always worked out for me when picking the Super Bowl. If I'm not sure about a Super Bowl pick, just go with Tom Brady. He'll make it work for you. He'll make it work. So, yeah. So those are my picks for the Super Bowl. Now, on to the awards. to start with my awards, I have Coach of the Year, which I have Todd Bowles. He's first year head coach stepping in with the Buccaneers after Bruce Arians stepped down. I obviously have them go to the Super Bowl. That doesn't affect the voting though, but I do have them going 14-3. And as a first year head coach, even with the roster he has going 14-3 is very impressive. So I think in that case he will win Coach of the Year. Then Defensive Rookie of the Year, I have Aiden Hutchinson, and I'm just a huge fan of Aiden Hutchinson. And Offensive Rookie of the Year was a hard one. Garrett Wilson, I like. I think he's going to be great, but he has Zach Wilson as a quarterback, and for the first few games, he has Joe Flacco as a quarterback. So I don't know if he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Then Drake London, I'm not a big fan of either. The running backs, Breece Hall could do it, but he has Michael Carter there, so he's probably gonna split carries again with Kenneth Walker. He has Rashad Penny there, so he might split carries. So I went with Chris Olave. Famous Jameis, he knows how to throw downfield. Chris Olave is a great deep threat. I love Chris Olave. I am high on him, so I have him winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, I have Devontae Adams. I thought about putting Derrick Henry here. Spoiler alert, I do have Derrick Henry for Comeback Player of the Year. So I gave him one award and decided to give this one to Devontae. I think Devontae is going to have a big season. I think he's the best receiver in the league, and I think he and Derek Carr are going to prove that to the world. Then Comeback Player of the Year, I said Derrick Henry. And Defensive Player of the Year, I have Myles Garrett. No one else really stood out to me. Aaron Donald obviously could win it. I could see him doing that. TJ Watt, maybe, but I mean, unless he breaks the sack record this year instead of tying it, probably not. Micah Parsons, maybe, but it's the Cowboys, so who cares? So yeah, I went to Myles Garrett just by process of elimination. Then at MVP, I have Mac Jones. No. I have Tom Brady. I have Tom Brady at MVP. Like I said, when in doubt, you choose Tom Brady. Never fails. So Tom Brady for MVP. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been King Shub, and I am out.